And we're back. It's the Brothers DC. I'm Brandon. This is Brian. And we're here to talk some baseball. We're going to be talking all Astros baseball today. And we really want to focus on what's been going on the last couple of years with the Luno regime and the Crane regime and what's been happening with the brand, the logo. You know, it's important to us. We want to protect that. So we want to just talk about it, get that out there, see what you guys think of it, maybe get some interaction. Speaking of, you can tweet us at HOU Basebald. You can send us an email at houbasebald@gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook at Basebald. So we really like to hear from some of you guys. I know you guys, we've talked to some of y'all, and y'all have had a lot of good questions. So keep sending them in, and we'll
tell us what you want us to talk about if you have a specific subject or anything like that. But we want to get people excited about the Astros, Houston baseball again. I mean, it's been a while, and I think this year will be fun.
Hopefully, we'll get to see a good product on the field. That's a little bit what we're going to talk about today. But we left off last time talking prospects, and there were a couple more prospects we wanted to just throw out there because time ran short. We didn't get to really mention. So just real quick, what are some other guys that we want to look out for in the next coming years? I don't know if any of these guys are looking to help us out this year, but they're close.
Well, I wanted to hit on some of the pitchers.
Okay.
You know, we didn't get to talk at all about Vincent Velasquez, who's one of our most heralded prospects, and certainly one of our top pitching prospects outside of Mark Appel.
Been injured a little bit, but when he pitches, lights out.
Yeah, throws in the mid to upper 90s. You know, when he pitches, he does very well. He's just had a little bit of arm problems, which obviously is a big red flag, but hopefully we'll see him kind of put it all together this year, and maybe we'll see him second half or September, maybe. We'll see. We'll
see how he does, I guess, at Double-A, and if there's a reason to call him up in September. I think we need to start pushing some of these guys a little bit more now that we're getting close to that 2016 through 2017. Let's see what these guys have.
Right.
Because you've mentioned, we're still going to get there with some of these other pitchers that we have coming up, but you know, we built this farm system, and really haven't seen them produce for the Astros. We traded Kosar, Mike Foltynewicz, Tropiano in the Hank Conger trade, Andrew Thurman, right. Jordan Lyles. You know, these are all guys. Those are all just young arms that we have that aren't going to be producing anything for the Astros. I understand that building the farm system up is a way to use it as currency and get trade value for things you need, and we've discussed that in the past. But you build up and all these guys that you get attached to in the minors and that you see grow through your system, they're not going to be Astros.
Right.
Carlos Perez was in that trade. Rio Ruiz we talked about, and we lost Delano DeShields in the Rule 5 trade because we didn't protect him.
Lost him for nothing. Yeah. So I mean, it hurts to trade away those young arms, the talented arms, and still, come into this year with questions about the back end of your rotation, maybe even the front end a little bit. We're still looking for that big ace, but it'd be nice to have a well-rounded staff. Right now we got Obi slotted at Overholzer slotted at number 4, and maybe Dan Straley at number 5.
Yeah.
And while I like those guys, there are no slam dunks for those slots, and it'd be nice to have a little bit more talent to back it up. Now we do have Appel.
We've discussed Appel, but what are some of the other guys? I know you mentioned Velasquez.
Michael Feliz.
Michael Feliz is a big arm, which he was the last man protected, I believe, this year on the 40-man.
Yeah, a little trickery, I think, going on there with Jeff Luno, so not real sure. But, he's one. Certainly Josh Hader is the one.
Yes.
That I really am looking forward to seeing. Left-hander.
Right.
Had a great year last year.
In the California League, Hitters League. So we see him at Double-A this year down in Corpus, and see what he does. Maybe that's another guy we see pushed along. Maybe a September call-up, probably, if at all. But I think all these guys that we're talking about today would be mainly September call-ups. But you want to get them up here to get prepared for the 2016-2017 season.
I don't want them getting their feet wet.
These are all at least Double-A guys that we're talking about here.
Yeah, McCullers fits right in there. Lance McCullers Jr. Strong arm, great stuff.
Genetics,
pedigree. His dad was in the major leagues. Lance McCullers Sr. And so yeah, you've got some talent down on the farms. Some arms stocked up. And but I know you wanted to talk about the first baseman.
Yeah, some guy. I'm really pumped about this guy. He was a guy I really was looking forward to getting in the draft. Somebody I had targeted as a guy, kind of like I did the last year with a couple years ago with Joey Gallo, the guy I really wanted. I knew he probably wouldn't fall back to us, and unfortunately he's going to be in our division with the Rangers. But this guy was a guy I wanted. AJ Reed, I'm really pumped about him. I was so glad that we got him. He's the Golden Spikes winner. He was a dual player, pitcher and hitter, in college, and he's going to be strictly a first baseman / DH type for us, and hit the ground running last year. I'm really pumped about AJ Reed and what he's going to be able to bring. Left-handed power.
Yeah, he's a young guy
who can actually hit. We'll see about Singleton.
Yeah, we talked about pushing Singleton a little bit in some of our previous episodes, but this is another reason why the fact that Singleton is so young doesn't really matter that much. If he doesn't produce, you have somebody like him, AJ Reed coming along, or Gaddis or Carter, somebody else trying to push him out of that spot. And there's nothing guaranteed for John Singleton.
Right. We also, AJ Reed was last year's draft. J.D. Davis, a third baseman, left-handed guy. Maybe one of the reasons why we felt, because he came out and hit right away.
Yeah.
And so maybe another reason, along with Moran, that we felt Rio Ruiz could be thrown into the Gaddis trade, because A.J. Reed, J.D. Davis, Derek Fisher, all three guys taken in last year's draft, college-level hitters that came out, were signed and got a lot of good experience right away. I think they'll all three probably be in High A in the California leagues. We'll get to see some big numbers out of them
really
this year. And so that'll be fun to keep an eye on those three guys and see how fast they're pushed along. Especially, I think Reed. I think he's going to be pushed pretty quickly.
First base, it's up to Singleton to see how quickly everything moves this year. So
and so this show, I think, is we're gonna talk about the Astros and the organization, and this is kind of the state of the Astros show. So not everything is going to be nice about the Astros. We're not going to hold back any punches. But I do want to start off by saying, last year's draft did produce three quality hitters that are older guys, college level guys came out, and guys that look like they're going to be able to hit and all contact, a little bit of power. And so I'm excited about it.
It looks like a win. Well, people aren't really talking about that, though, are they?
No, that's not what they're talking about. Right now, there's a lot of talk around baseball about how this organization's being run with Luno and Crane, and now it goes back to, I think, we had to replenish the farm system, and we were all on board. It's a process. You got to build the farm system. There's no reason to spend the money when you can't win. You don't have the players, and you don't have the TV deal. You're not getting money. So go ahead and get those first round picks, those top guys, and replenish the farm system. I love what they did that first year with Correa, saving some money. I know Buxton was the number one overall prospect, but I was really excited about Correa. I like what he can do. You save some money there. You're able to go get Lance McCullers. You're able to get Rio Ruiz in the same draft because you saved that money. And personally, I think that Correa, depending on how he comes back from the ankle, but I think he'll be fine, the leg. I think Correa personally is a better prospect. We'll see how that goes. Obviously, there's a lot of smarter people than me. Yeah, I am. I'll definitely on Correa. But
that's certainly you could argue that.
Yeah.
So it's not that's not as bad. The next season, the next draft was the one where we kind of scratched our heads a little bit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, immediately I knew who I wanted. I wanted Chris Bryant. He was the guy kind of like AJ Reed, and that I really wanted that year.
Just a big third baseman, big slugger, but not just a home run hitter.
No, contact hitter. And he was the guy I really wanted, and it seemed like a no-brainer. But there were some talk that year that the Cubs were actually, if they would have had the #1 pick, would have taken Appel. So there are a lot of other smart people out there that do this for a living that made the call and for whatever reason went with Appel. We'll just have to see if he pans out. But I see the Astros building, and you lose all these games to get those #1 guys.
You want the blue chip prospect, the guys that are going to knock your socks off.
Right. We did all this losing. We don't end up with Buxton. We don't end up with Chris Bryant. And then this year we don't end up with who we wanted, Rodon. Another guy who looks like Bryant and Rodon are going to be able to help their respective teams this year.
It would be nice to have Correa, Bryant, and Rodon coming up this year.
Exactly.
Point, right?
Exactly.
Your whole left side of your infield would be stacked.
So I'm a little upset about
Pitching
that.
depth would be better.
And not only that, we didn't sign a first-round pick this year.
Right. Clearly,
So-
that was a big mistake, and we started to wonder about the dealings with players and people and personnel. What was going on? Was the management? Was it the ownership?
That's the first kind of rumblings we started to have. I know you and I about the way this organization was being run, and the upper level. That's the first kind of doubts we had in Luno and how he was running things.
It made the club look bad.
It did.
And they tried to do the deal with both Aiken and Nix, who were represented by the same guy.
Right.
When the Aiken deal fell through, the Nix deal they just walked away from, and
You get the players' union grievance filed, which has now been taken care of because I believe there was a settlement taken care of with Jacob
pay them
Nix.
anyways, right?
Yeah. So that it starts making the Astros look bad across the the general baseball population.
Yeah.
And you and I are such big Astros fans. We want to make sure that we're protecting the brand. The star means a lot to us. This is something we've grown up with. It's a big part of our lives. Obviously, this is why we get together and we talk about the Astros. And so it means a lot to us. And we want to make sure that the people in charge are doing the right thing for the fans and the organization.
Right. The brand, not just the on the field, but the off the field stuff is important to us. It's not just about the wins and losses. Obviously, we need to have that at some point. But when you start doing damage to the brand name, I think then you're starting to fail on multiple levels. It's a big deal.
Right. So we have the concerns about the draft. And then we have the computer hacking that goes on, and everything. All the discussions about trades and what the Astros are talking about with the other clubs. That all gets leaked out.
The database gets hacked. All their interactions, what other people are thinking, all that stuff gets leaked out. And even though that sort of thing is going to happen,
I mean,
in the
it
IT
can happen,
world,
and it's not necessarily their fault.
maybe not, but either way,
The amount of security.
it doesn't make
could
you
be
look
called into
very
question.
good, and it certainly with other clubs may look at your club and say, what's going on over there?
Right.
These guys just a bunch of idiots, running things over in Houston. It makes for a negative perception, and we talked about this a little bit before the show about how that in and of itself may not have been such a big deal, but combined with failing with the Aiken signing.
The way it was handled with Knicks.
The way it was handled with Knicks, some of these other interactions that have just gone public and not looked good, combined, that's a bigger story, and that's what makes this negative perception that we're trying to avoid or that we wish wasn't there.
And then recently whispers about Jeff Bagwell not being involved with the current regime, and we don't want to speculate as to why or why not. But just the fact that, number 5, your icon, Baggy, is not involved with the team for whatever reason, it's just bad. It's not right. He is part of the Astros brand. He's Biggio and Bagwell. We need to reach out and keep these guys coming. Now, I know Reed Ryan has done a good job of doing that recently, and we got Bagwell back on. He's going to be joining the team for spring training this year, but that's just one more concern that makes you say, what's going on over there?
How can you lose track of that relationship that you desperately need to have with you know, you don't have a lot of big time stars, certainly of Hall of Fame level, in this organization. And you know, how do you go without talking to him for 3-4 years and having him involved or inviting him to be around?
Well, we got the TV deal done, and it looks like we're going to be able to spend some money. So we go out and get Gaddis. Looks like we've improved the team. We've talked about that in the last couple of weeks, and we're excited. It's finally gone from process to where we can see some progress, and we've got a major league product out there, and I'm really excited. So now Houston gets to see. We get to see the games. We get to go out and hopefully a lot of more people will be going out to watch the games live, and really get behind this team. I'm excited.
Those exciting players.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
we didn't get to watch Altuve's whole season last year because of that TV deal, and now we can.
We get to watch Springer.
To watch Springer. See what he does.
Yeah, this is gonna be exciting year, and I'm really pumped about it. A couple of the things I want to mention in this episode before we let you guys go. Astros did move forward this week. Looks like they're going to be heading to West Palm Beach in a couple of years. Going to move the spring training facility into a shared facility with the Washington Nationals. Looks like that'll happen, I guess, in 2017. And so that should be interesting. A nice new facility for players to go to. And you know, one other thing I wanted to talk to you about is, what do you think about this young guy, Yoan Moncada? Is that somebody Astros should be even interested in at this point?
I don't see why not. I mean, if you're really trying to compete, you know, within the next couple of years, you need to start being involved in some of these bidding wars to get these young players, these stars. You know, start spending the money now. You know, if you're ready, and these people that you can spend money on right now are ready, I say go for it.
Yoan Moncada would be a nice first-round pick from last year, since we don't have one.
Certainly would be nice. We do have 2 picks.
We do have 2 picks in the top 5, I believe. Yeah, top 5.
Right.
So, you know, we've said our piece about the Astros and the organization. I don't want to leave here with everybody thinking we're not behind them. We are. We're 100% behind Luno and Crane and this organization. But we just want to make sure that they know somebody's watching them, somebody's talking about them. But hey, we've seen some progress. I'm excited. Past is in the past. We're moving forward with a great team, a lot of excitement. We got 2 picks in the top 5 this year. And so I think it's going to be a great year.
Absolutely.
I'm really excited.
A real competitive division. And we'll talk about that on our next episode, actually. We'll talk about the AL West. And you know, we do have a bald guy of the month we need to get to this episode. Who do you think we should go with? It's got to be a current player.
Current player, all right. So, one of my favorites, a great hitter. We're going to go with, it's hard for me. I love the guy, except that he's a Cardinal.
Yeah,
you know, those Cardinal Astros rivalries back in the mid-2000s I have a hard time with. But got to go Matt Holliday. He is our bald guy of the month. So,
congratulations. There's another thing for your mantle right there, Matt Holliday.
Congratulations. So that's our talk this week about the Astros. We'll, as my brother said, we'll talk about the AL West next time. But for Brian, I'm Brandon. Go Stros.
Go Stros.
Lazuski, Campanella talking baseball. The man and Bobby Fella, the Scooter, the Barber and the Nuke. They knew 'em all from Boston to Dubuque, especially Willie, Mickey and the Duke.